Good morning. Thanks for joining us on our daily Bible study. Today we're going to be in John chapter 13. Once again, John chapter 13. We're going to be talking and starting in verse 1, and we're going to read down about verse 10, I believe. So John chapter 13. You got your Bibles? Join with me as I read. It says, "Before the Passover festival, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world to the Father. Having loved his own who were here in the world, he loved them to the end. Now when it was time for supper, the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, Simon Iscariot's son, to betray him. Jesus knew that the Father had given everything into his hands, that he had come from God, and that he was going back to God. So he got up from the supper, laid aside his outer clothing, took a towel, tied it around himself. Next, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet and to dry them with the towel tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who asked him, 'Lord, what are you going to wash my feet?' Jesus answered him, said, 'What I am doing you don't realize now, but afterwards you will understand.' 'You will never wash my feet,' Peter said. Jesus replied, 'If I do not wash you will have no part with me.' Simon Peter said to him, 'Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and my head.' 'One who has bathed,' Jesus told him, 'doesn't need to wash everything except his feet, but he is completely clean. You are clean, but not all of you.' For he knew who would betray him. This is why he says, 'Not all of you are clean.'" Now let's take a few moments in there. Jesus is doing something that is odd. He's washing feet. That's like I said a couple of days ago. That's something that was reserved for the servants. You know, the masters of the house. They didn't do this. They brought their servants in to welcome visitors into the house. And Jesus gets down and he starts washing the feet of his disciples and goes through the room and he gets to Peter. And Peter's one of these that he's really devoted to Jesus, but he still hadn't got his tongue under control. The tongue hadn't got tamed in Peter's. You know, when he gets angry, he does things that he probably shouldn't have, being a follower of Jesus. But, you know, Jesus comes to wash his feet, and he's like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, you're not going to do this. You're not going to wash my feet. I don't. Peter's like, I don't deserve you to. Listen, guy, if I don't do this for you, you won't understand down the road what's going on. And Jesus he's trying to teach two things to Peter. One, he's trying to teach Peter how to be a servant, how to get down and be a servant to the people around them, not just be the preacher behind the pulpit or the person doing things there. He wants them to be a servant. When Pastor talks about all the time doing things in the church that being a servant, like taking the garbage, picking up trash that's on the floor, vacuuming, cleaning the toilet. These are all things that we do at the church that show our spirit of servitude, our servanthood. You know, everything we do is not about preaching from the pulpit, and not everything you do is about Bible thumping or this, that, and the other. We do things in our lives that show that we are a true servant. And Peter was getting taught this lesson by Jesus washing his feet. And then Peter says something else when Jesus explains to him why he's doing this. Peter's like, "Oh, if you're going to wash my feet, you might as well wash my whole body, because I need all that you've got, Jesus. I need everything you got. You can wash me from head to toe. I need it." And Jesus is like, "Hey, dude, I don't need to wash your whole body, because you're clean except your feet." And back in those days, they wore their sandals. And in today's, we wear flip-flops and sandals during the summer, and we walk around. And when you go out, if you're in the dusty area, then your feet are going to get dirty. You're going to take your sandals or your flip-flops off, and you're going to be able to see the dust that is built up on your feet. So that's why Jesus was saying your whole body is clean. The only thing that needs to be clean is your feet, because you've been out doing the work, and we need to clean that. And Jesus explaining we don't need him to constantly wash us and clean us. There are times when we do things that are not good, or we sin in our daily lives, and we don't, God save me or this, that. No, we need to pinpoint the things in our lives that need to be cleaned in our life. We need to be specific. That's what Jesus is saying to Peter. We don't need to wash ourselves in that all together. We just need to pinpoint the things that we've done wrong in our lives and understand that what God has made clean, we can't make unclean. We can't do the opposite or be contrary to what the Word says. Jesus is cleaning His disciples' feet. He's showing servitude. He's making them understand that, this is things that are going to have to take place. We're going to have to serve one another. We're going to have to be there for one another. We're going to have to stand up for one another. They don't understand this now, but He tells them what I'm doing now, you won't realize now. But afterwards, you will understand. When Jesus goes on and dies on the cross later in the week, these disciples will understand exactly what Jesus is doing for them this night. They will understand the immense pressure and the immense things that Jesus was going through. They won't understand it until later on in the week when He is gone, and they'll look back and go, man, we understand. Now, we're excited here about our Bible studies this week. We are doing studies based on this being Holy Week. I love you. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you once again here at Irwin Hill Church of God.